All right, good afternoon. I'm here to call the Planning Commission, the Tullahoma Regional Planning Commission's regular meeting on April 15th to order. First item of business is determination of a quorum, and we have 6 present, and Mr. Rice is absent, so we do have a quorum. And at this time, I'd like everyone to rise and please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Next item on the agenda, read and approve the minutes of the regularly scheduled meeting of the Planning Commission held on March 18th, 2024. I was absent for this meeting, and since to not have a tie, I will abstain from this, but I will entertain a motion.
I'll have to abstain as well. I wasn't here.
Oh. Okay.
Motion. Second, Ben.
We're back on a tie.
Motion to approve these.
All right. All right. We got a motion from Mr. Hall, a second from Mr. Sellers. Any discussion? With that, I'll call the vote. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And abstained is
Abstained.
2 of us. Okay, so it's 4-2 or 4-0-2. Minutes are accepted as written. General public comments on items not on the agenda. At this time, if anyone from the public would like to come forward and speak on items of the purview of the Planning Commission, but yet not on the agenda tonight, you are allotted 3 minutes of your time. Now is your time to be recognized. Come forward, please. All right, seeing none, I will close that. Reports from officers and staff. Before I move to officers and staff, I have a entry into the minutes for next for this month's meeting, and essentially, basically on March 28th, 2024, from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m., the Planning Commission held a training session led by Mr. Sam Edwards. This training meets 2 of the 4 required hours for the annual training requirements for the Regional Planning Commission. An additional 2 hours are required to be met to meet the requirement as set in TCA 13-3-101C and will be scheduled in the upcoming months. All members were present for this training. Paul Schwer, Bill Comer, Alexander Rice, Marvin Sellers, Andy Hall, Ray Novis, Bobby Wilson, and Charles Rush. Additionally, Chuck Dean, Elizabeth Bowling, Nancy Cheney, and Jerry Hokeney from the Community Planning Development Committee were in attendance and observed this training. So I will submit this to the recorder, and we'll get that in the minutes for next time. And with that, we'll move to officers. Mr. Quick, you're recognized.
Well, Chairman Schwer, you just read what I was supposed to read. So that was Charles's report, so I think you have covered that. Charles is attending a conference this week along with other members of the Planning and Codes team. So he sends his best wishes, and that's my report.
All right, thank you. Seeing no old business, we'll move to new business, subdivision plats. These are public hearings. The Markham-Avoca Lake Road minor final plat. The final plat to create 4 lots along Avoca Lake Road in the UGB of the Coffee County 2. And the applicant is Mr. Joe Orr. I'd invite the applicant or representative to come forth.
Hi. I'm Jenny Orr, Joe's daughter.
Okay. Just quick statement about what you're doing, and
We're just looking for plat approval for the 4 lots. They're restricted lots, and they've got acreage with them.
all right. Thank you. If we have any questions, we'll call you back. All right. This is a public hearing, so at this time, anyone from the public wishing to speak on this, you're allotted 2 minutes for these on the agenda. Come forward now. Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing and move to the staff report. Mr. Quick.
According to Charles, this is a approved plan, and he wants to send that to the commission.
All right. Thank you. Entertain a motion.
Motion to approve, subject staff comments.
Okay. Motion from Mr. Hall. Second.
Second.
Second from Mr. Sellers. A discussion on this? All right. Seeing none, we'll move to the voting. All in favor of approval of the Markham-Avoca Lake Road minor final plat, subject to staff comments, And it's the aye? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? All right, that is 6-0 in favor. Motion from Hall and Sellers. All right, Section B, zoning map amendment, public hearing. Zoning map amendment ZMA 288. A request to rezone the properties located at 310, 312 East Warren Street and 302 and 304 South Anderson Street from general commercial C2 zoning district to the neighborhood commercial C3 zoning district. Applicant is Hani Mansour.
Hani Mansour. I own the property on Warren Street and Anderson Street. What I have in mind is to rezone from C2 to C3. That would allow me to put residential or commercial. What I have in mind is to build a commercial building on Anderson Street and residential on Warren Street.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, this is a public hearing, so anyone from the public that would like to come forth and speak on this, I will open the public hearing. Seeing none, I will close the public hearing and move to the staff report. Mr. Quick.
In speaking with Mr. Rush, he believes that this is definitely something that the commission should approve. He believes that it will provide 2 to 3 apartments, it will update buildings, and it will provide a nicer look for that area on Anderson and Warren Street.
All right, thank you, Mr. Quick. I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
All right. Motion from Mr. Comer, second from Mayor Noes. Yeah, probably, we need some clarity on your motion there. We're actually sending a favorable recommendation, if that's the...
With including all staff comments and with, based on compliance with the finding of fact.
All right, thank you. All right, and second from Mr. Noes, or Mayor Noes. With that, any discussion on this? I do agree with Mr. Quick and Mr. Rush that I think this is a good choice here. With that, no other discussion. I'll call the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right. It's again 6-0. Sending a favorable recommendation to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen based on facts and findings for Section 1006E of the Tullahoma zoning ordinance. Item number 2, zoning map amendment ZMA 289 request. A request to rezone the property along Old Shelbyville Highway from the agricultural zoning to the district to the low-density residential R1 zoning district. The applicant is Mr. William Vaughn. I'd invite the applicant or representative.
How
Sir,
are you?
you
My
ready?
name is Court Huffman. I'm representative from Mr. Vaughn.
Okay, thank you. We'd seen this before, but I mean, I don't know if there's anything changed.
No.
Okay, thank you. All right. With that, this is a public hearing. I will invite the public to come forward at this time. I'll open the public hearing. Anyone that wishes to speak on the zoning map amendment? Sir, you're recognized. 2 minutes, and state your name and address for the record.
My name is J-Lo. I actually live at 1155 Ridgeville Road. We own the property adjacent to this, or near that property. And I really only have one question, because I know there's not really a lot we could do about this. I'd like to know what low density, what does that mean, low density residential?
Okay, we can answer that for you.
Thank you.
Sir, your name was J-A-Y-L-O-W-E?
L-O-W, yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. All right. Did you get the address? No. Sorry.
1155 Ridgeville Road, Tullahoma. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. All right. Anyone else would like to come forward? All right. All right, I will close the public hearing at this time and move to the staff report. Mr. Quick?
Again, in my conversations with Mr. Rush, he stands by his previous recommendation.
All right, thank you.
To approve.
All right. All right, with that, do we have a motion?
Motion to send a favorable recommendation to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen based on findings of fact for Section 1006-E of the Tullahoma, of the City of Tullahoma zoning ordinance.
All right, thank you.
Second.
Second from Mayor Noes. With discussion, let me find the definition for Mr. Lowe here of what R1 low density is. Mr. Lowe, essentially, low density residential R1 is established to provide low density residential development, single family dwellings, accessory buildings, temporary buildings. Has a front yard setback of 35 feet, rear setback of 25 feet, and a side yard setback of 10 feet. And there is a minimum lot size of, it's roughly a quarter acre, but I'm trying to find it in the packet here.
12,000 square feet.
12,000 square feet. Per plat, yeah. Or per lot.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. All right, any more discussion on this? Mr. Sellers?
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing that this is what our regulations, our subdivision regulations say, but I want to make a comment that this is a case where, you know, that quarter acre high density, where this is located, is one of the things that I'm trying to get us to take a look at as a commission, because of where it's at on a road that's not heavily, a large road that can handle a lot of traffic. You know, this would be one of those cases where I would think that it would be nice for us to have additional zoning capabilities besides just one R1. So I bring it just to make a comment for the meeting.
Okay.
I'm not disagreeing. This is what we can do right now.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Sellers.
And I have a comment as well.
Yes. Ms. Wilson, you
And I
recognize?
agree with what Mr. Sellers is saying. In addition to that, you know, we don't have anything from the schools that say that whether that this additional development would put additional pressure on already crowded schools. You know, we don't have any sort of impact study to show about the traffic in the area. You know, our 2011 comprehensive plan states that it will serve as a guiding document, not an absolute. Our land use plan states the pattern shown on this map is not inflexible. So, you know, I have a unique position on this board, and that I also sit on the Board of Mayor and Aldermen. And so, as such, you know, I have to consider everything that the city may or may not be ready for. We have maybe over 2,000 units that have already been approved, including a PUD and you know, not just housing, but, you know, even if you look at the news, you know, even the building that we're sitting in right now, we're trying to decide whether we need to fix it or replace it. This building alone is to the point where it's almost a safety hazard, and we have some high dollar things coming down our pipeline right now. So I think that we need to, you know, be careful about how many things that we're just rezoning without knowing what it entails, and if we're ready for such things. Because if we just, you know, we've discussed, Mr. Sellers has even brought up, you know, different levels of zoning, so that at least in that sense we might know how many houses that we're talking about, because this is on 2 adjacent lots, correct? Is
Yes,
that correct on this one?
Well, the next item is for
So,
this.
so this isn't just about this one, you know, 26.28 acres. There's one beside of this that we're getting ready to rule on as well, that's pretty equivalent, if I'm thinking right off the top of my head here, what page that is on. It's equivalent in size. And so, I mean, that's potentially a lot of houses. And so, you know, my thought is, you know, looking at a standpoint, I would hate to be in a situation where we're not equipped infrastructure-wise, school-wise, to handle the amount of kids when we already know that we have 2,000 units ahead, plus some other big ticket items in the city. I would say at this time that it would be a no for me.
Thank you, Ms. Wilson. All right, any other discussion amongst the board? All right, with that, I'll call the vote. All in favor of sending a favorable recommendation to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen? And I will try to find, based on the facts and findings from section 1006E of the Tullahoma City of Tullahoma zoning ordinance. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
No.
Abstained? All right. Motion passes. Send a favorable recommendation to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen, 5-1 with Ms. Wilson as a no. Mr. Hall, you were the Mr. Nose. All right. Thank you. All right. Zoning map amendment, ZMA 290 request. A request to rezone the property along Old Shelbyville Highway from the agricultural zoning district to the low-density residential R1 zoning district. Coffee County map, tax map 125, parcel 0051. Applicant is Grady and Leona Vassar. I'd invite them to come forward.
I am Brady Moore, representing Grady Vassar.
All right, thank you. It's the same as last time. It's the same thing. Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. This is a public hearing. So this time I'll open the public hearing for anyone that wishes to speak on this. Ma'am, you're recognized. Please state your name and address so we can record it.
Hi, I'm Alex Richmond with Cumberland Springs Land Company. It's 60 Riddle Road. Huh?
Could you speak a little closer to the mic?
Alex Richmond.
Alex Richmond?
Alice.
Okay, and your address?
60 Riddle Road, Shelbyville, Tennessee.
What was the house number?
60 Riddle Road.
60.
Yeah. All right.
I need a whiteboard. I'm with Cumberland Springs Land Company. We're an adjacent landowner. And I just had a question of if this was going to be on sewer, and then also if there's any considerations that it may be a formerly used defense site, and what might be the plan for ordinance removal at that site.
All right. Thank you. All right. We'll attempt to answer those. All right. Anyone else wishing to come forward?
My name's Walter Gunn. I live at 1110 Carr Creek Road, Normandy, Tennessee. I own the property next door.
I can't hear, I'm sorry.
Walter Gunn.
Walter Dunn?
Gunn.
And your address?
1110 Carr Creek Road, Normandy.
1110 Carter Creek.
Carr
Road.
Creek.
Carr Creek, my bad, Carr Creek.
Normandy.
No. Thank you.
Yeah, I own the property next door. It definitely, my father found anti-aircraft rounds when he plowed, so there are most likely some there. Yeah, I mean, we object to it. I don't know if there's anything we can do to stop it. It is appalling that you would put such a high density of houses out there, especially in this quiet neighborhood. And, we don't seem like we really have any idea what truly is going to happen there. And thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right. Anyone else wishing to come forward to the public hearing? All right, seeing none, I will close the public hearing. Staff report, Mr. Quick.
Yes, in my conversation with Charles Rush, he stands by his former recommendation to approve.
All right, thank you, Mr. Rush. All right, motion?
Motion to send a favorable recommendation to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen based on findings of fact for Section 1006-E of the City of Tullahoma zoning ordinance.
Thank you, Mr. Hall, you're good at that.
Second.
Second from Mr. Novus. All right, discussion on this. To kind of attempt Miss Richmond's questions about sewer and the UX ordinances, if this land is developed after it is rezoned, at that time a site survey will be done and it'll determine whether or not it needs to be on sewer and stuff like that. That's the typical process. I can't speak for what will actually happen, but that's that will be part of the subdivision plat if it is actually developed. With that, any other discussion on this? Yes, sir. Ma'am, I'm sorry. Ms. Wilson, you're recognized.
Thank you. Again, as per my previous statements about the adjoining lot, being a steward, of the taxpayer dollar, I sit on the Board of Mayor and Aldermen as well, and I, for one, once this is rezoned out of agriculture into R1, it doesn't come back to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen. So this is really my last chance, to stress to everyone that I feel like that we're getting a little putting the cart before the horse here, and we have no idea about the school situation, about the infrastructure there, the traffic, and I have concerns about that. Schools are very expensive to build, and the infrastructure I don't believe is there right now because it's very low density and agricultural in that area, and we have no idea at this time what is going to go in there, and it could potentially raise taxes, and that would be out of our control if we're not ready for all of the housing that we've already approved. And so I stand behind that. And additionally, and I'll restate the facts that our 2011 comprehensive plan states, quote, will serve as a guiding document. Our land use plan states, quote, the pattern shown on this map is not inflexible. The general government goal states, quote, a government which plans in response to the community's social and physical needs. And so for me, it would be no at this time.
All right, thank you, Ms. Wilson. No, I recognize your point about the low-density residential development will raise taxes across the board. It's expensive, but I don't think it's inconsistent with our map to do anything more high density out there, and it wouldn't be appropriate, I don't think, anyway. So, any more discussion? All right, with that, I'll call the vote. All in favor of sending a favorable recommendation to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Opposed.
All right, abstained. Motion passes 5-1 with Wilson. All right, thank you. With that, we are adjourned from the Planning Commission regular meeting, and we will open up the Board of Zoning Appeals. I'll call to order the Board of Zoning Appeals regular meeting agenda, and read and approve the minutes of the March 18th, 2024 meeting.
Move to approve the minutes.
All right, I have a motion from Mr. Noes,
Second.
second from Mr. Hall. Any discussion on this? Again, I was not present, so I
was
will
not
abstain,
present.
and Ms. Wilson will abstain. All right, with that, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained?
Abstain.
Aye, abstained. All right, motion, that's a 402. Okay. And with that, there is no old business, no new business, so we are adjourned. Thank you, and we will see you next month.
Can you send them to you?
Please.